Nahirapan na ako matulog kagabi.
Sorry.
Okay.
Actually didn't sleep until like 2:30. It's a surprise I woke at 9 o'clock.
Buti ka nga eh, ako. Lasing ko.
Alright, so last we proved that Emma is a fucking murderer.
Siya pala ang nakapatay. Hindi man niya sinasadya yun eh. Nung pagkatulak niya, si Neil Marshall pala yung may hawak ng knife.
Yes.
Kaya pagkatulak niya, natusok ni Neil Marshall sarili niya.
Yes, and then he wrote the name of his killer. But since when did that trick ever actually work? Like remember Maya and Mia, where Mia apparently wrote Maya's killer, her killer, which was Maya. Yeah, who the fuck? That never happens in real life. It never happens here either.
No, nangyayari yun.
Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it.
Ano ba yan? Puro pagkain dito. Tapos hindi mo pinapagpag ito. Tapos magtataka ka.
Anyway.
Puro ipis dito. Ano ito? Humihiga ka ng ganyan, Jay. Hindi mo na pinapagpagkama mo? Ha?
This is my problem, not yours. And I'm gonna get resigned anyway. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you called me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again? Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. He really graduated from law school. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said if you're planning to take him on,
Si Gant.
you're going to need this book. Him.
Gant.
I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? We're gonna prove Lana and Emma are both innocent of murder. Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me. Mr. Edgeworth. The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she unwittingly caused a man's death. And now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman.
When Emma didn't kill Neil Marshall.
She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? We're going to expose him. No matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. For 2 long years, this pain has been festering by the true killer behind the scenes. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth, don't you want to read the book?
Oh, sige. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Kaya malakas talaga si Gant kasi nga hawak niya lahat ng evidence.
Yep.
Kung i-approve ng police department, hindi siya makakalabas.
And then rule 2.
Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case and trial. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case and trial. Yun na yun?
Yeah. Quite the short book. The Inquiry Committee is planning on to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there's some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that! But everyone's thinking it.
Wala siyang alam. Bakit naman kasi? So hindi rin siya magaling na prosecutor. Kasi hindi niya.
He was still a newbie at the time.
Ha?
He was still a newbie at the time. Give him a break. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and...
Okay lang, delete the question ni Mami.
Yeah? Why would that be wrong?
Okay.
You are kinda messing up my body pillow. Very well, Your Honor. In that case, let Phoenix write. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Why are defense attorneys not allowed to present their own witnesses? Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses.
Hindi naman yung witness eh, so magkapatid.
Yeah, Lana is the defendant. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? You already know who to call. Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well, the defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright. You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls. The time has finally come to bring out the real murderer.
Magkatawag na siya. Sigat na siya. Sabi na sigat.
Go ahead. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? Oh, true. All right, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand.
Oh, minsan bigla na lang silang lumalabas dun eh.
Yeah. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? But please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name's Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You're aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons. Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to.
No.
What? Is that true?
What?
I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. Final boss time. If I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. Make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene.
What?
As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery.
Ano ba? Siya pala nag-usog.
Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. The police chief has the right to refuse to testify. And I'd better hit him hard and fast.
Sasaan na.
As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made them run away like that. Was the defendant Lana Sky also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, he wasn't there when Dark ran for it. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right?
So si Marshall at si Gant ang humabol agad.
That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say. He got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden. I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went into his heart, though. That's not funny.
Asan na si isang Marshall? Wala na dyan, hindi na magkakakita. Bakit? Kaya ano nakatapid niya yan?
Could you tell us what you saw? Probably at the audience, maybe. It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor. Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls. Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done.
No, ano na malalaman?
How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved. So that means they found the body near Lana's desk. That's right. I think you said earlier, it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. Yes. Anyway, hindi ako maliligo.
Okay, maliligo si Mami.
It's so cold. So you're saying The
Hindi
forgery
na maipo mo.
had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office.
Mas ano ka dyan? Comfortable?
Certain people prefer it this way. Apparently, actually, I only learned of this recently. If you sit like this, blood flows faster in your brain and you can think better because your legs are taking up less blood flow or something in this position. I can understand how Lana must have felt. But moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. That's how it really went down. Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. You need evidence. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd be better off staring at the court record. Worthy, always the smooth talker. Which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence. That can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. We're back at the beginning.
Naghahanap tayo ng ibang present. So, magmamatch sa sinabi niya, di ba?
If you need help, I can point you to the exact testimony I gotta present evidence to. I'm a master of watching the sprites and knowing when something is up. And by that I mean I played the game already before.
Ito.
Look at the evidence and see if there's something that you
Hindi, tama ako.
I won't tell you the answers unless
Sabi-
you want me to.
Yeah.
Okay, you're in the correct testimony.
Ganyan. Tapos, sa present na ako.
Yes. Those are all evidence. Not related to SL2.
Piling ko ito.
The autopsy.
Itong dalawa. Either of those two.
Rule number 2 of evidence law. Evidence must be proven relevant to the case if they are not accepted by the police. Those evidence are technically illegal right now since you found them and the prosecution doesn't know about them.
So, hindi yan
Well,
sa
actually, the
present.
evidence list. Oh yeah, no, never mind. It's not in the evidence, even if the prosecution does know about the evidence list. The cloth is definitely something the prosecution doesn't know yet.
So, hindi rin din pwede.
Yeah. There's something even better you can use.
Itong photo.
Something that can link Gant to the case.
Kaya nga, ito lang naman eh. Or this one.
Go with Yagot.
Hindi rin pwede kasi hindi naman nakapresent kami.
No, that's evidence in the murder of Detective Goodman.
Ito?
Yeah,
Sa pelikula ito. Send?
go ahead. You're correct. Presenting the ID card records with the 777 was also a good choice.
Mm.
You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That's the blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant. These articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Illegal?
Illegal. Oh my god.
I'm so good at speaking, guys. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Oh! Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Wright-o? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? What?
Anuhan ko si Gumshoe, kawawa naman.
Big oof. If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. Negative salary. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Let's see, what was it now? The jar fragment and the list. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright. I can't see any contradicting yet. Yes, Your Honor. I guess we gotta press. When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I'm the chief of police, right? There will be consequences.
Patay.
Yeah, we're very screwed. Oh.
Mabawasan din siya yung salary.
Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again.
Wala.
My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Alright, Uji. In return, though. I know, that place, right? Huh? Were these guys telepathic? You don't really need to press all the time if you already see a contradicting thing, but yeah. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day I once broke into a cattle ranch and Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Rhino's prints are found. Yes, they're found inside my safe. You prove this investigation was illegal. I'm not faced anyone as slimy as this guy. There was also Dahlia, but that's until later. What do you mean by that? Nothing wrong with that. This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place all those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery. I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. Are saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered until the initial investigation. It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized in the day after the arc was sentenced. Like those ball pens I always lose at school. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility, so long as you can't rule that out. Their remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come on now, Righto. Think about it. Hindi pa. We're still moving on. It's a very long testimony. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember, who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Yeah, you didn't press it. You accidentally went forward to the end. Gant isn't the one who murdered Prosecutor Marshall 2 years ago. It's because you're sitting like that! It only means someone asked him to be an accomplice. Damon Gant. Someone's accomplice. That sounds unlikely.
Last na tayo, di ba?
Yeah.
Ito ba yan?
No. Fuck.
Oh!
You got me impatient, you're so slow. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? Picking the chief. That would of course be the position you have. Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to chief. That in and of itself is sufficient motive. Oh! That's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Yeah! Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. You didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Would you mind if I change my testimony a little? Oh, by all means, please do. This is definitely the one with the contradicting thing now.
Press mo na natin magagamit sa
Go ahead. If there was nothing in it for me, I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. I don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. There have been something in it for him. Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Hell yeah. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake. But if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone.
Ayun ang ginawa niya kay Lana. Para magka-tandem sila.
Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well, then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forged evidence? Booyah! Take that! Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky, the defendant!
Galing mo. Natawa ko sa'yo mga voice over na.
I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. I like voicing the judge. Emma Sky fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Jaja. Lana Sky was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all this? He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. At this point, Edgeworth and Phoenix are just working together now, aren't they, basically?
Oh.
Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh, wait. You must mean puppets as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Sky in forging evidence. Your motive, to appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you can control her. Right, oh my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. Just keep it quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. Will end soon. I'm afraid without any proof, this haul amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? The current one that this trial is existing for.
No? Kay Gant.
Mm-hmm. Of course, I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting straight throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean?
Ano yan? Wala pa, hindi.
What he means,
Hindi
Your
pa
Honor.
nag-reply, hindi ko tinawagan.
Is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. More than just involved. Not only that, but the chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. Whoa, 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 what? Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder. That's impossible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language.
Tandem na sila.
It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. Looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in the murder? Hell yeah. Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell.
Wow.
Oh yeah, here it comes. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it had better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Oh man, I don't actually know how to do this. I think I have an idea of what evidence you got to present.
Ito na. Tama?
I'm not sure.
Ay, hindi mo alam?
Yeah. I have an idea, but what evidence to show, but it definitely isn't that piece of cloth. I'm pretty sure that doesn't come until near the end. And we're only halfway. Only halfway. I'm the best.
Ito.
That's certainly a possibility.
No? Pumasok din siya. Present?
Go ahead if you think it's right. I was trying to see what the answer was. Go ahead. No hesitation. You got plenty of penalties. This is the ID card list.
Hindi. Hindi nito eh.
Nope, you're correct.
Correct?
Yeah?
Ba't hindi minto yung sounds?
Sometimes it doesn't happen. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 77777. 7. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code.
Dapat bawal din yun, ah. Hindi parang nagnakaw siya, pumasok siya sa loob at nag-open
7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 77777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. 7. I missed a 7. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Oh yeah, we're winning. Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. I have the right to not testify. The defense asserts my office was in violation of regulations.
Violation yun, no?
Yeah.
Hindi maaakaw.
And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But, for now... But right now, this court demands an explanation from you. About the use of this ID card. Chief Gant! So you admitted? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. A few minutes before the murder. The supposed murder time that Goodman died.
Dito namatay siya. Dito pala. Hello? Hi, good morning po.
Please leave it away from the camera.
Fighter po? Pwede na. Kailan po yan? Araw-araw meron na. Kasi nung nakaraan, nagpunta po kami sa Robinson Tejero, natapat wala. Araw-araw na po. Opo, ako din eh. Moderna o kaya Fighter 20. Bukas din Fighter. O sige po. Fighter po. Pero ngayon po, Fighter. Kaya lang baka madami ng tao. At hali na. Hindi pa sana maaga-maaga. Ano po? Ako. Sige po, iaano ko si Ate B, pati yung mga anak ko, lahat na kami. Sige po, bukas pa tayo kasama kami po. Salamat, Ate Noy. Okay po.
Alright, can I uncover the mic now?
Mapapaano tayo, mapapakuna. Message ko mga mga kuya.
Yeehaw! Can't that wait? I can remember for you. We're almost through with the recording for now. You guys think I'm just speaking in English to stay in character. I'll have you know, I have plenty of people I've talked to who can testify I just talk in English normally. Even when I'm not recording. Take Toriu for example. He's more than willing to testify.
Bukas ha, if ever, dapat naka-ready na tayo ng umaga para pag sinabi ni Ate Noy ng Pfizer sa Robinson, ano nakarin tayo, gaya na natin tayo.
the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the back room alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't happen to be with you that day, wouldn't he? No, of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant. I'm afraid you've just undone yourself.
Whoa.
You know what to show. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean?
Hindi ko maalala.
The trial's purpose is to prove Detective Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor.
Random na talaga sila.
This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask for evidence. Why us? Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Remember, Goodman lost something the day of the crime. If he lost something, what would he have done? Being the Goodman that he was.
Diba?
Can be submitted to the Chief of Police. Only. Hell yeah.
Perfect na natin.
That Goodman lost his ID card.
Mami, dati percent na ako ng percent. Tapos pinit ng pinit, kailangan pala magtatandem sa statement.
No shit. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. They would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. It was evidence transferal. Oh! Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. Oh. Once we get to the next testimony, that's where we end for today. I accompanied him, and tomorrow will be the final day, assuming we can play tomorrow. There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman.
Mukha pa naman mabait si Chief Gant, no?
Exactly. Not at all. But wait, the Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Don't give him ideas, Judge. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. You had really lent it to Detective Goodman.
Sana hawak ni Detective yung ID niya.
It would have been found on his body.
Kaya nga.
No! Chief Gant, you didn't! The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright. that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot.
Sa card niya.
How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony.
So, hindi siya lumalis. Natin sa kanya.
Yeah, everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so.
Ikaw nga,
Chief
mismo
Gant.
nagdala
Yeah, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just to taking up space. It's finally time to show it. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. I believe this is the last evidence we'll need to show. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this!
Alin?
Edgeworth, car, parking, office. It's in here, in this page. What you need is right here.
Ano ba yun? Nakasitindas ka? Total?
1712.
Ayan ba?
If you think it's right, go ahead. You're right. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. A parking stub. Miles Edgeworth. You mean... The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car.
Hindi lagay sa sasakyan ni Edgeworth.
You mean I carried the victim's body?
Hindi niya alam.
Yeah, precisely so. But wait, even you know.
Kasi nga naandun din siya sa police station noon. Ano na yun?
I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony finished that day. But you did return. Tell me, why?
Naisip niya.
Ay, this has to go by Chief Gant. Ho.
Yun na.
Ho. That thing was just false evidence to hide the fact that he wanted him to hide the body.
Ano?
Edgeworth was told to keep that so that he would drive the car back with Detective Goodman's body secretly there, all in the guise that he was simply putting evidence.
Yung screw na to, gusto lang niya ipatago sa office ni ano.
It's just a red herring. It has nothing to do. It's a distraction to prevent us from seeing Goodman. So you see, what you were really taking to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk.
Ginulo mo talaga, no?
Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? It's just a screwdriver from a case that's already closed. AI-16.
Walang kinalaman sa kahit na ano.
Yeah.
AI-16.
There's only one plausible explanation. Transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Sky. Order! What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal? The defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was a photo of the body being taken out. It was exactly the opposite.
Ilalabas pa lang niya. Para saksakin. Hindi yung ilalagay pa lang sa trunk.
It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe... Your time's up.
Huh?
My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. Oh no, he's refusing to testify further.
Ayaw niya magsalita.
We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet.
Ayaw niya sumagot.
Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons?
Pero makakapag-testify lang naman sa kanya sila eh.
Yeah.
Wala paano siya talaga makonvict.
But the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. Oh, but you see, that's a very terrible move to be doing right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. Especially after all you've done so far now. There are certain risks to be considered. All that's been proven, I mean. So you're going to just run away after all this. Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now.
Yun ang pinakahawakan niya eh. Kaya ang conclusive evidence is sila na.
Well,
Wala eh.
You think I had land to dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. The court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Kai dispose of his body? Do I have any concrete proof? You wanna stop here?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, the conclusive finale. Yeah. We're finally gonna get to the bottom of everything. Believe in the truth and defend what's right. Phoenix right.